everyone. Hope all is well. My name is Justina and I'm the founder of We Rule. We'll be hosting Sarabjit today. He'll be talking all about apps. And while we're waiting for our guest, I just wanted to remind you that We Rule is a platform where we feature female founders. We connect them to mentors, investors, and different business opportunities. Rahana, who's my business partner, kind of started this IG Live series so we can connect with different founders from all over the world and people in our network. So we had to restart our session because the live was not connecting. So I'm going to accept Sarabjit again. Perfect. And please let us know if you can hear us. We might have to do
Hey,
it again. Okay, hello.
hey again.
It's fine, hopefully it won't disconnect, but it's just live and it's Instagram, so it's like you get what you get. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me here, Justina. Greatly appreciate it.
Of course. I'm super excited for this interview. So maybe we can kick it off. And guys, like and by the way, all these comments, like don't worry about them because people are just crazy sometimes, So FYI. So let's just
wait, we're talking about apps here. We're talking about IT systems.
We're talking about apps. I know people are crazy. So don't even worry about that. So let's just start by introducing yourself. Like, let us know who you are, what you do, and I also love to ask that question. If you can reveal, are you scared? No. If you can reveal what your childhood ambition was.
Okay, so let me start by introducing myself. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarabjit. I'm the founder of IT Careers for You. It's a company that I founded with all my passion in helping others transition into the IT industry because, IT is where everything is. We're in all industries, whether it's medical, healthcare, insurance, banking. We're needed everywhere. And so it's something that I'm passionate about. My childhood, is deep. I am a product of immigrant parents, which meant that I grew up all by myself, my brother and I, just watching TV. I tell people often that my morals come from TV shows like Full House and Family Matters because those were the ones that were around to tell me what was right and wrong because my parents were hardworking and they needed to work long hours to support us. So my childhood ambition, while other girls were playing with Barbie dolls and with Ken as the boyfriend, I was thinking about how I was going to go to college and be successful so I didn't have to work those long hours. So it was always been always very, very career focused. And today, me being super successful in my career, I wanted to give everybody that opportunity. And that's kind of why I started the company that I have.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit more about the company. But before that, I just wanted to say I totally connect with that. My parents are also immigrants and my brother is 10 years younger than me. So sometimes when people ask me if I have baby fever, I'm like, listen, I already had a kid. I basically raised my brother. He was 3, I was 13. People thought he was my child because, I had to raise him, I had to cook for him. So totally, just like a beautiful immigrant story. So tell us a little bit about what your business actually does.
So what I forgot to mention in my introduction is that I also consult for the state of California. And so I manage large-scale IT projects. And I have two passions, if you wanted to ever know. I love building IT systems, applications, not just apps that you see on Apple and Android, but I manage large-scale IT systems for huge companies. Right now I'm consulting for the state of California. And my second passion is to help people do what I do on a day-to-day basis. And, as I mentioned, I was doing really well in my career and something still was missing. I was like, I'm doing great. I'm taking care of my family. This career has given me so many different opportunities and to explore and to learn and to grow as an individual, but then I'm not giving back. And that's where IT Careers came into the picture. I started to train people on a small Facebook platform and a Facebook group. It's grown to about 3,000 people. I have a small YouTube channel. And in the beginning, Justina, I was just training them, just because I can't share my work stuff because that's, confidential. So I was training them on IT systems in the make-believe, which wasn't really working out so well. So earlier this year, I started to onboard projects. I have 2 projects, and I've taken on 30 to around 50 people, and I'm giving them that hands-on experience. So if you can imagine, people that have no experience in the IT industry have some work experience. That's what I require as a minimum. They need to have some work experience. Who have no experience in the IT industry are building apps, right, and systems, and super complicated websites, because they're able to get that hands-on exposure with me and the training. And now, because of this experience, they can go on and land jobs as a business analyst or project managers that are 80 to like $110,000 a year. And nothing makes me more proud to have touched a family, because I think it comes down to my childhood, right? I didn't have parents. And I feel like if I can help a family, a person be successful in their careers, they'll be more involved with their kids. So it's a way for me to give back to my childhood, to see people, highly successful. So that's my dream.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so amazing. You know what? I love that. And I feel like you're doing something so important, because, we keep hearing that, there's not enough women or diversity, in the tech world. And, like I've seen your group, everyone's, a woman, everyone's diverse. So I feel like you're also bringing that to the table, which is so, so, so important. So you always talk about what is like a business analyst. So what does that even mean? And for example, like I have a fashion background. Could I be a business analyst? Like, how does that work?
Sure, absolutely. I feel like, as I said, I'm very passionate about what I do. We're like unicorns, if you can believe me for a second. So we're not programmers. We don't code. I don't teach anybody how to code, systems or applications or anything. What we do is we're the bridge. So we work with business teams that have a need or a requirement or something that needs to get done. We work with those folks, and then we work with developers. And in working with developers, they sometimes, have an idea and want to implement. So we're the bridge. We work with business teams, and we say, okay, Justina, what is it that you want this app to do? Okay, how should this function? So we translate your requirements from a business standpoint into our developers' requirements, was something that they can understand and now only code what the business needs versus something they thought the business needed. Oftentimes you'll see lots of articles about, how IT projects fail completely. And it's because people like us, unicorns, right? We're not there, and we're not involved, and we're not pulling in the business as often enough as the business needs to be. I'm an IT professional, but I always believe that IT systems should support the business, and it shouldn't be IT system, running the show. So that's what business analysts do. I teach people how they need to work with the business teams, understand what the requirements are, and then work with developers to implement and deliver those successful projects. And so in a nutshell, that's what business analysts do. So no, you don't need an IT background. It's helpful if you have one, but as long as you're a good communicator and you are able to take the lead and roll up your sleeves and figure out complicated functionality in working with your teams, whether it's the business or the IT, you'll be a good business analyst.
Exactly. And I love what you said. So I feel like what I'm getting from this is being a business analyst in your world means that you're kind of like a translator.
Yes.
Between the people who want the thing done and the people who are doing it. Because we've had this conversation before, like, I love technology, but I only understand it like, oh, this is cool. This is a cool app. But to actually, build things and like communicate with people who speak in literal code, it's a challenge, right?
Yes. Oftentimes, like, the business teams are generally like, hey, Sarabjit, I wanted to do this. And I'm like, okay, I got you. And then I have to ask lots of follow-up questions because I need to write it in a way where my developers can also understand. And then we need to test it in a way, like, we don't want to give you like half-baked functionality, which you have to do a lot of manual stuff for. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's why often you see lots of IT systems not being as successful as they can be, because you need, people in the middle to help bridge that gap and to deliver systems that are end-to-end and not just, only doing one function for the business. It needs to be an end-to-end solution.
Exactly. And you know, and you see this often that a lot of people say, oh, you know, I paid 100, 200,000 for my dream
Yes.
app, and it literally, it doesn't
Does
work.
it
Nothing
work?
works on the back end. Yes, 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 yes. So what
Because
are
they're
some of
missing
your
me.
tips? Yeah. Yeah, we'll call you. But what are some of your tips when someone is just starting to think about building, you know, a back end, whether it's an app or a web app? That's what it's called, right? See, I don't even know. I don't speak the language. A web app, right? So when you log into your
Yeah,
computer. Yes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what is some of your advice of like how people can go around it and how they can best prepare not to basically waste money other than hiring you? So we hired
Other
you.
than
How else can they prepare?
well, for me, the first thing that I do anytime I onboard a project, and this is, you know, something that I train very much so in my training course, is you need to look at the end to end. You know, lots of times people are like, okay, I want an app. Okay, but then that app needs a database. What do you want to do with that data? How is it going to be useful? Do you need reports? Do you need analytics? Right? How are you going to communicate with people that are on the app? So those are all the things that you need to think about. You know, instead of just diving deep into what you want to see, you have to see the whole ecosystem and plan it out, to make sure that you're not just, you know, building a pretty looking front end, something that doesn't work completely, right? So that's the first thing I would suggest, is to think about the whole ecosystem. If you don't have a business analyst or a project manager and you're thinking about building something, I highly recommend one of us, because it may delay the project a little bit, because it takes time to understand and to translate those requirements. But in the end, you'll get an application or a system that actually works.
Exactly, and that's so important because that's like, you know, like we've worked on something together and I'm just like, oh, you know, I just want this to happen, and then you're like, yeah, but where does it live? And I'm like, I don't know, out there in the universe.
Right, right, right. So
Exactly. So you're
definitely,
able to just catch those things, right?
yes, you definitely need to think about everything, all the data points and such. Yeah.
Hmm. So I have a question for you that we didn't send you before, but don't worry, it's not hard. So I know that based on your bio, you work with, you know, Fortune 100, 500 companies, but also with startups and people who are just starting. What is the difference? You know, if someone wants to be a business analyst, like what's the difference between working in a startup and like a big corporation?
Working as a startup, you'll be doing everything, right? You'll be guiding them through their business model. You'll be helping them define what it is that they're looking for. And with big corporations, I found when I consulted with big corporations or state entities, what we're working with are systems that already exist, and we're enhancing them. We're generally not starting from scratch. We're generally, they may have like a mainframe system or something and they need something changed. So we're working on understanding what it is that the system does today. How does it need to be different? So we're generally just enhancing those systems. Oftentimes we could be building new systems as well. And that's what I find is with bigger corporations, everything is set. You know, they have their own internal teams. You just fit into the cog and you make things work. Whereas startups, I generally have to find a dev team for them. I generally have to find a UX designers for them, because they just don't have those resources available. But I find it engaging working with startups as well as large corporations. It's what I love to do. As long as I'm building systems, as long as you're not making
You're
me
good.
bake anything, bake cookies or cakes, I'm good.
No problem. And you know, that's interesting because like, so I have experiences, you know, working for American Express, and that's literally how it is. There's a
Yeah.
system from 1991 that has been patched together. And you
Yes.
know, then they're like, oh my
That's
God, we have to fix everything, you know? So it's just like a 7-year project, you know?
yes,
Because they've
yes,
built something for like the past 20 years. So
yes,
yeah, so
yeah.
it's just like fixing little things, right?
Fixing little things, yeah, yeah,
And going along with it. Yes.
yeah.
So the next thing, something that we talked about earlier is, you know, like using your network to build an app. Like, do you want to touch on that? What is your advice here?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
So, in the questions that we sent out, that you said that you want to talk about what can our network do.
Okay,
So, if you want to
right.
talk about
So,
that a little bit.
sure. So, as I said, Justina, you know, in the beginning, for the last a year and a half, I've been training on make-believe IT systems, which becomes really hard to do, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't, like I can talk about databases, but unless they can see it and understand how they interact with the app or a system, it just doesn't make sense. And so what I would love, it would be a dream come true. So if, businesses are watching us or corporations are watching us and they have a project, please get in touch with me. I'd love to work with you guys, because it's not, because you're going to build that project or app anyway, right? But having, working with me, I can train maybe 20 to 30 people that can now have a future in this career, which to me, the way that I see it, Justina, I feel like I'm the fairy godmother. I'm like, and I have this golden wand. And I'm like, you could be a business analyst, and you could be a business analyst, and you could be a project manager, just based on the skill sets that I see in people. Because to me, it just, imagine having somebody, and I think it's infectious to get messages from people that have worked, are not making as much, and then they join the training and they land a job that's paying them, $90,000 a year, and they can be home with their families, and then they are starting at a 90, but they can continue to grow and grow and grow and have a wonderful career, and the things that they're going to teach their kids, and the wonderful life their kids are going to have because they have a successful career. So to me, I feel like every person that I help train and is now successful.
Yes.
You're good? Okay, cool. I thought I was losing you. So
it's breaking up a little bit, but
to help us. Okay, so so if you guys have a need to build IT systems, applications, anything, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you, and then I'd love to give exposure to so many others, and the opportunity to have a wonderful career ahead of them.
That's amazing. And so what you do, from what I know, is that you make people not only just like read stuff online and watch a YouTube video, but you make them, exactly, but you make them work on real projects that they can go to a job interview and have like real world experience, quote unquote. So when someone wants to be a business analyst, right? And like we talked about, there's not a lot of diversity, there's not a lot of women, I think, especially where you're from, in California. So when you are a woman, or you are not like a white dude, that is basically the Silicon Valley, and you're going for that interview, like what would your mind, like what would your advice be? Like what would you do?
To women, right? Is that your question? What would my advice be to other women out there? Go for it.
And like the people who are not just white guys, like you are in that world, and your whole team is just that. Like, how do you best prepare yourself to succeed and not be like intimidated or whatever,
I always say just go for do the best that you can, because you don't know what's on the other side. And if you don't even try, I've succeeded, and I'm pretty successful in my career being a brown petite woman, right? Having no experience or connections. And it's because I never gave up. I never let anything stop me, and I would go for interview after interview until I landed the position I wanted. So you just have to keep trying, right? Yes, there are difficulties that we face being a woman. I've been in situations where I'm the only woman in the room, right? In board meetings, the only brown person in the room.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop me. That you just have to keep moving forward, because the more that you expose yourself, the more your community benefits. And that's how I feel about this training. It's a dream come true for me if I can support women mostly. I'll never say no to men who want to join my training program, but I always feel like I have a soft heart for women, because we just don't have that many in the IT industry. And then culturally, it's a lot harder for some cultures to, for those women to step out of their comfort zone and go out into the world. And I'd love to help and support women in any way that I can.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. I love that. Like, and you know me, I'm the same way, like whoever needs support, I got you. You're an awesome person. But for women, especially,
I'll go the extra mile for sure.
Exactly. Like I'll do a little extra for you. Exactly. So my next question is just kind of like going back to to the business analyst. So let's say you're building an app, and you're either the business analyst or the business owner, not the developer. And there's like so many things that can go wrong. How, like, what are those things? Like, what are the most common kind of mistakes when business owners or business analysts are working with developers, that we should watch out for?
So I think the biggest thing that first of all, we always need to set expectations, and we always need to prioritize, right? Even though, in working with lots of product owners, they generally want everything, right, in the first release. And we always have to set those expectations to say, okay, well, what are the most important things that we need to have? So as long as you can prioritize and have that conversation ahead of time, not during the release or when it's time to build out, if you're setting those expectations from the very beginning and you're guiding your team members, right, both your business and your IT folks, to say, okay, we will get everything done, but in the first release we need little building blocks so we can build a bigger functionality. And I think that's where lots of projects fail, is there's not enough prioritization. We're just trying to do everything at once, which gets super confusing. And, in the app that we're building, we're doing small chunks, and we're able to see what's being built, and we're able to tweak it, and we're able to give feedback. And that's what makes it a great product, because we're not just throwing everything at the business owners at once and saying, here, this is what you wanted, we're done with it, right? That's
exactly.
That's what makes good systems, is that feedback that we can get when we deliver in small pieces of functionality.
And I feel like that's generally like good advice for other things. Like, if you're hiring a seamstress or interior designer or anything else in between, right? Like you're making someone paint you a painting, I don't know. But it's just like you have to communicate like little baby things along the way. Not just like, hey, this is what I want, I'll see you in a month. And then in a month, it's completely
Here's my
different.
house.
Yeah.
Here's my house. Go decorate it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I come into my house. Yeah, and I come into my house and it's hot pink.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do. So don't hire me. But yes, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, and I think that's a great advice, like across the board, because you have to communicate with people like step by step, and really make sure that they're understanding what you're saying. Because sometimes, we've been working together on something. Stay tuned. But like, me, I'm just like, oh, I want this, but then you are like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about, So imagine if that happened, and like a month later you come to the table and you're like, wait, that's completely not what I wanted. So yeah. That's good.
Yeah, right. And having And then I was gonna say, the other thing is to have business owners highly involved. So prioritization is one thing, but then having business owners involved in the development process, right? Because it's not just you're going to tell us what you want and then you walk away. It's having that consistent feedback and that loop, the feedback mechanism where you can give feedback and we can accept it and make changes as they're needed. Is it the same?
Exactly. That's wonderful. So we're going to finish up soon. I can't speak English, of course. I need more coffee. But we have some fun rapid fire questions for you.
Oh, no.
Yes. No. It's going to be good. So the first one I kind of know already, and it comes also with a why. So are you a morning person or a night owl, and why?
I think I can manage both. I stay up pretty late because, as I said, I consult, for the state of California. I have my own business. I train people. So generally, I stay up pretty late. And then my dev teams are across the globe. So I wake up at 6 o'clock generally to meet with them. I think I'm a unicorn. I can handle both.
Oh, wow. Teach me your ways. I can stay up till 4 a.m., but I need my 8 hours,
I don't know. I'm a workaholic. That's the other thing that you should know about me.
No, that's me too. But I always say I'm not a proud workaholic, but I'm a workaholic. Like, I would love to some time for myself, but maybe like in the next few years, we'll see. We'll figure it out slowly but surely. Next question is, what is one thing that you always pack with you when you're traveling? Like, what is one thing that you have to have with you?
My phone.
Your
I die
phone?
without my phone.
We have to send you on vacation once where just like we just confiscate your phone and your laptop and just send you off an island.
I'll be going crazy. Believe me.
I'll have to talk to Rahana about this one.
Take my phone away from me.
Yes, we will have to do it. Next question is, what is your favorite brand and why? Like in one sentence.
So I was doing some research and actually I identified three: Tesla, Apple, and then what was the third one? So Tesla because of the loyalty that they have with the brand. Apple because their ease of use and people just are able to connect with them and use their products. And then Google is the third one, is because everybody thinks Google is free. Google is the most highly paid marketing platform out there. Google Ads, which run on Google, our Chrome platform, is we all think it's free, but Google is actually using our feedback and what we're searching to promote businesses on the back end. So if you're on Google and you see the little ads, that's actually businesses paying Google to promote their business. And so, I just love the innovative ways that Google is able to promote their business, and they're just a thought leader in the whole IT industry.
Exactly. And I love that. And that's also another thing that I learned recently. If you are not paying for the service, then you are the product. You're not the customer.
You are the product. Yeah. You are the
exactly.
customer. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So your data is the product. The last question is, what is one place in the world on your bucket list?
Oh, man. I want to travel the world. There's generally not one place that I'm tied to. I want to be all over. I feel like I'm an old soul, and I just love to travel. I haven't been able to do that much with COVID and all, but my birthday's coming up in December, and I want to at least go to 2 to 3 different countries. I think Australia, Bali. I want to go to Pakistan and just, check it out.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Why not? My dev teams are there and my marketing teams are there. So, I talk to them almost every day. So I'd love to just go meet them in person and just be like, hey.
Yes, because you know what? It's like, that's something that's cool that you brought up. Like, if you know people in other countries, then that's amazing because, they can take you to all the authentic places. Like, if you come to New York, like, I'm not going to take you to Times Square and the Statue of Liberty. Like, I'll show you, like, the authentic, New York experience. Yeah. So, yeah. It's really good to know people around the world. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
To close out, where can we find you? How can we support you?
Just find me on Instagram. Like I said, I'm a pretty new business, so I don't have everything all built out yet. I am passionate about helping others, and I hope that I can get to touch as many lives as I possibly can in my time here in the world. So anything that you guys can do, any businesses that can help me, use their platform to train others so they can have a career would just be amazing for me. That's all I want.
And what is your website? Do you have a website?
IT Careers for You.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone who watches this has to join now, so no pressure. Alrighty, thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.